All right. Great morning. Boom, 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 boom. Great morning. Good to have everyone joining us. I see David Mayer. I see Tamron. I see Chris Bowden. I see who else we got? I see Tara. I see Christine. All right. Let's see. I'm going to pin my video. I see Jenny. Good morning, Jenny. Good to see your smiling face. Michelle over in LA. Good to see you. Barbara in Florida. Good to see you. All right. Who else do we have? David. Good to see you. Two Davids, both of you guys. Jerry Cook. Good to see you. Joanne King. Good to see you as well. Hopefully everyone's had a great weekend. Let me know, what did you do this weekend? What was your weekend like? And as you guys are sharing that in the chat box, I'll let you know that we're also broadcasting to YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube as well, let us know in the comments box, what was your weekend like? And I'm going to mute myself out on YouTube because I'm starting to get a echo here. If you guys, were you guys able to hear the echo just now? Let me know. All right. So this weekend, I got to do something that I think was really cool. So we celebrated my aunt's 85th birthday. So last night, actually, Sunday night, today's Monday morning, as we're watching this thing. If you're watching the replay, you can pretend like it's Monday morning. But we got a chance to celebrate her 85th birthday. And as we're watching her, like, we had a ton of family that was around. And as I'm watching her, she's always been a role model of mine, right? And I've looked at her and I've looked at some of the things that she's done in her life, how she's contributed to the betterment of other people, how she's raised her children, how she's always treated me really well. This is my wife's aunt, but I've adopted her as my aunt as well, right? So her name's Aunt Teen. So now as we're sitting at our table, at our family table, I'm watching her and I'm watching her being celebrated as different family members go up to the mic and talk about, their experience with her and wishing her a happy birthday and many, many, many more. We had some really good times because watching the children, everyone from the children go up to the adults, her children and her grandchildren. And then afterwards, we started playing some music and I'm watching her dance, right? So she's dancing, she's doing her little dance there, her 85-year-old dance, really cool dance. And I'm watching her throughout the entire night as she's embracing everyone, right? One by one, she's going in and she's got something special. And I noticed as everyone that was going up on the mic and kind of giving her flowers, they each said something that made you, the listener, believe that throughout their entire life, she made them feel like they were just the one, right? Like they were that special person and it was just them. And then you would hear the next person go up and they would talk about their experience with her, right? And I just think it was beautiful. So I was talking with one of the other attendees and I was sharing with him, remember the book that we talked about a couple of months ago where they did this Harvard study and they found that the people that tend to have the happiest lives typically were people that had someone that they can call on, that they could depend on at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning if things ever got bad, right? Do you guys remember that? Now, there were some other factors as well in this book. They talked about people who had at least 2 or 3 really good friendships, 2 or 3 really good relationships. Didn't take 20, didn't take 30, right? We didn't need to have, I got 50 Facebook friends, right? You didn't need to have that. We're talking about real friends, people that you actually know and people that you can go out and have tea with if you wanted to on a Sunday. Or people that you may not talk to, but every 6 months or every 6 years, right? But you knew that they were individuals that you could count on. So this study showed that longevity as well as happiness directly correlated to the social life that you had. And when I say social life, I'm not talking about, again, going out on the weekends, hitting the bar up, partying, right? It meant the people that you can truly count on in your life. So as I'm talking to one of the other gentlemen here and we're observing everything that's going on and I'm sharing this with him, I'm sharing the book, I'm sharing the study with him. And we're looking at her, Aunt Teen, and her celebration that's taking place. And it kind of dawned on me the importance of relationships, right? The importance of making sure that you let other people know how much you care about them, how much they mean to you, even if it's, and this is something that for me, all of my life, it's been really challenging for me to do, to simply pick up the phone and say, hey, Rhonda, you know what? I really appreciate you. Remember when I was 7, like you helped me out with that thing? And I never really told you about it, but all of my life, it's helped me to overcome some obstacles and some battles. I appreciate you for sewing that into me, right? So doing little things like that, knowing that you have people that may have done things for you at some point in your life, and that sometimes they need to just simply hear it, right? That's my wife. My wife is one of those individuals who is one of the most caring individuals, and she'll go all out for people that she loves. She'll go all out for people that she doesn't even know. I'm like, you don't even know this person. What are you doing? Relax, right? But she's a total empath. But on the flip side of that, she also likes to know that she's being recognized, right? And when someone doesn't, then it kind of bothers her. She's like, oh my God, I went all out, and this person didn't even, say thank you, right? So looking at her in her 85 years of glory, it reminded me to continue to be a contributor, to continue to sow into people, to continue to have relationships, to continue to get out of my introverted self and be more of an extrovert. Because when I do go out into environments, I absolutely love it. Talking about I talked to you guys about the seminar that I went to, right? And absolutely loved it. So think about the people that are in your life. Think about the people that might have passed through your life, and how can you go in and reach out to them and just let them know that you appreciate them. You appreciate the things that they've done for you, even if it could have been something that was extremely small, right? This also reminded me that, look, there's going to be multiple seasons in our life. Right now, Caroline's not on here because she's not feeling well. I think her and her daughter, she had sent me a message. We were going back and forth. And coincidentally, I had told her, like, oh my God, I was not feeling well as well. I'm not going to claim that I'm not feeling well now. So I'm going to be very careful with my words. I was not feeling well. Felt like I was coming down with something over the weekend. And so I communicated that to Caroline. She communicated to me that she wasn't feeling well. And she's like, well, you just cancel the show. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not going to cancel the show. I would rather die before canceling the show. I'm not asking for that, so be careful. But I'm not canceling the show. Not at all, right? Because again, this gives me my energy. So you have to recognize where you get your energy from as well. So you have these seasons in your life, and this is what I want to talk to you guys about. This is going to be a short show. Maybe we'll go in for about 30 minutes. But the title of this show is, and before I give you the quote for today, I want to give you the title: Becoming the Best at Your Craft by Recognizing and Knowing What Season You're in. Right? So I'll give it to you again. Becoming the best at your craft by recognizing and knowing what season you're in. Right? And then let's go into the quote. So the quote for today is, this is a quote that I actually shared with my kids this morning. And it is so interesting how we can sometimes see things that are so fitting. So this quote comes from John Wayne, right? And look, John Wayne was someone that some people loved him, some people hated him, right? Some people were indifferent. They were right in the middle. But I think you can learn from everyone, right? And this quote is, courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway. John Wayne, the actor who lived from 1907 to 1979. I'm actually going to share this in the chat box with you guys. So courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway, right? And it's as simple as that. So how can we apply that to what we're doing here, right? If you guys are looking to publish your first book, maybe you're looking to publish that second book, maybe you're looking to publish that third book, maybe you're looking to start your business, maybe you're looking to go to an event. Whereas week before last, I was going to the Funnel Hacking Live event, I had it on my mind. I said, you know what, I should go. I almost talked myself out of it. Said, you know what, I'm going to just go in. I'm going to buy the flights right now. I'm going to buy the hotel. I'm going to buy the event ticket. And I'm just going to force myself to go. The minute I get into the event conference center, I feel this incredible energy. And I'm so glad that I did go. Then I bump into one individual after the other, some that I knew, some that I didn't know, some that knew me, some that talked about how I've helped them to change their lives, some that I've seen that has helped me to change my life. And it just reminded me that sometimes we're going to be so scared to do things that we need to push through anyway, right? So we need to push through. So let's talk about the different seasons that we're going to have, right? So this is like, if you think about it, Mother Nature gives us a couple of seasons. What are the seasons that she gives us? Think about it. I think this has been, as far as seasons, right? For most of us, and we may not all experience these. There's some of us, right? Like in Dubai, they're not going to get all 4 of these seasons. But what are all 4 of the seasons that some of us may experience that Mother Nature has been able to bless us with, right? We've got winter, we've got fall, right? We've got summer, and we're not going in order. We've got spring, right? So we can go winter, spring, summer, fall. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Everyone has heard of those 4 seasons, right? Even if you don't directly experience them, right? Even if you don't, even if you're over in Dubai, you've heard of winter. Maybe you've dreamed of winter, right? I want to get some snow. Maybe I want to go out and play in the snow. Maybe you're like where I was born and raised in Connecticut, and you're like, I can't stand this damn snow. I got to get away from this snow, right? I need to go down to South Carolina where there's not as much snow. They can't drive when we do get a little bit of snow, but there's not as much snow, right? So winter, spring, summer, fall. So we have all of these different seasons, and each one of them is beneficial, right? Each one of them is beneficial. So Mother Nature gave us these different seasons, and we recognize that there's benefit in each one. But do we often think about like the benefit in the different seasons that we go through? Have you guys ever thought about that? Like, have you ever thought about like, look, there's going to be a season for when I have to take care of my health. Caroline and I both coming down with something this weekend, it seems like. And there's going to be these seasons where some of the seasons are shorter, some of the seasons are going to be longer, right? But imagine if you just ignored your health and you just said, you know what, I'm gonna ignore this season right here where I need to take care of my health, whether it's your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, and you kept pressing on. It's like forcing summer to still be here when we know that we should be going into fall, right? Right now we're into fall right now, or are we heading into fall, or is it fall? We've got my wife has all of the Halloween decorations going on right here. It's like some type of a scary fun house in here. But imagine if we forced summer and we said we don't need fall. Imagine saying that to someone. You know what? I know you guys on the calendar, summer is no longer here. We're going into fall. On the calendar, it says that. But I'm going to continue to enjoy summer. They would look like you're nuts, right? If you said that to someone, I know we're going into fall. We'll soon be at Halloween. Then Thanksgiving's coming up, but I'm going to pretend like it's still summer here. And then you go out on the porch. You've got your shorts on. You've got your short sleeve shirt on. You've got your flip-flops on. You've got your sun visor on, right? And there's snow outside. They would call someone to come in and check on your mental health, right? So why do we do these things? Why do we try to force a season when we know we should be in one season? Why do we force these seasons when we know we should be working on our health? Why do we force these seasons when we know that we should be working on ourselves? There's going to be seasons when you should be working on yourself. There's going to be seasons when you may have to take care of other people. Seasons when things are not going as well as you'd like for them to go. And then there's going to be seasons when it's going extremely well. What do the squirrels do during those seasons when it's doing extremely well for them? What season is that typically? might be spring, summer, even fall, right? I saw a couple of squirrels out in the backyard. What are they doing? What are the squirrels doing when they have this great season? When this season comes around for them? They're storing, thank you, Christine. They're storing up for the winter, right? They're storing their food, they're gathering food, they're building up nests, right? Nest building, preparing for fall and winter. But some of us neglect to do that, right? We'll have these great, amazing seasons, and guess what happens? We continue to take them for granted. Is there someone that you could think about that's been through that season and they continue to take it for granted? We see athletes that do that a lot, right? So athletes will get paid these huge sums. Mike Tyson was one of these individuals. Got paid like $30 million for a single fight and thought that he was always going to be in that season. Thought that was, you see some athletes, you see some entertainers, you see some business owners, you see some authors who think that every single book that they publish, because they've had a home run with one, they think that it's always going to be good. Is that true? Like, and we're totally optimistic here, right? So we're positive people. But even with that, we also have common sense and knowing that things are not always going to be 100% good. So what do? We prepare. Well, not necessarily prepare. That may not be the best word, because preparing is assuming that something is going to come into play. You can prepare for the negative, but we're being wise and we're making sure that we are set in the event that the season that comes around that doesn't benefit us, we're still guarded against it, if that makes sense. Imagine the individuals that come in and they Powerball. Someone told me that the Powerball was something like $1 billion. Is that true? Is it? It's like so I couldn't believe that last night. So imagine the person that comes in, Barbara says, yes. Barbara, you put that in really quickly. You must have been following that there. I love it. So 1.5 billion, 2 billion, Wendy says. Which one is it? Is it $1 billion, 1.5, 2 billion? I might have to end this really early and go in and grab a ticket here before we call it. But imagine the individual that wins this Powerball. That would be a good season for him or her, right? But imagine if they did not prepare for their children, for their grandchildren, for the children after them. You could do a lot lineage-wise with 1.5 billion or 2 billion or even a billion. You may not be able to do much, right? You might be able to go on a couple of vacations and go to Disneyland. But 2 billion, you could definitely change some lives. But imagine you winning $2 billion and you're in this season of greatness, but you don't prepare for the fall, for the winter, right? And that's what happens. That's what happens with a lot of business owners. They'll see these great strikes. They'll see these periods of momentum where they're doing well. They've got the energy and they don't take advantage of it. And they misunderstand that they should be in that season of totally taking advantage of the energy, of the creativeness, of the thoughts that are coming into play, and use it for that period. How many of you have ever been like during a period of your life, the ideas just come to you. They just come to you. They just come to you. And then there's other periods where you can't come up with an idea if someone, paid you to come up with one. That's because you're in a season of idea creation. And you should not take advantage of it. When you're in the season of idea creation, it's not your season for socializing. It's not your season for binging on Netflix. It's not your season for continuously learning. It's your season for taking all of these ideas, noting them down, and recognizing that there's also going to be a season when you're ready to go and implement these things. How many of you have ever been in these seasons when you're in implementation mode? And you're just going and you're just going and you're just going and you're looking for things to work on. Well, if you recognize that season when you had all of the ideas, then you could come in, you can check them off. No problem. Because now you don't have to think about the ideas. You just look at your list that you developed when you were in idea season, and now you're in implementation season, and you just rock and roll. right? You just rock and roll with him. So we're going to be in these different seasons. We're going to be in these seasons where we have ideas that come up to us, and we can't abuse those. Like you can't take those ideas and say, well, I'm going to come back with some more later on. Because in most cases, you're probably going to forget, right? You're probably going to forget. So you have these seasons for when things are not going as well as you'd like. You have seasons when things are going extremely well. You have seasons when you're social, right? So looking at my Aunt Ting last night, and all of her 85 years of age, I recognized initially, I thought, well, this is a woman who maybe her longevity and her vibrance comes from her always being social. And then I had to think back, you know what? No, this is a mom. This is a grandmother. This is a great grandmother. So she had seasons of when she had to take care of her family, right? You couldn't be social and going to church and taking care of everyone else and going bowling, right? And doing all of the other stuff and neglecting your family. So there's seasons when she had to take care of the family. And then there's different levels of that. Because she didn't always have great-grandchildren. She didn't always have grandchildren, right? There was a season when she took care of her children. Then a season when she took care of her grandchildren. And then a season when she took care of her great-grandchildren. And now there's a season where she's taking care of herself. So you see how that goes? Like there's these moments when we take care of the family, and then we have these seasons when we also take care of ourselves, right? And we have to recognize again which season we're in. There's going to be seasons when you're totally locked in. So there could be these seasons when you're social, seasons when you're learning, then seasons when you're totally locked in. All right, I don't need to study another course right now. I don't need to look at another YouTube video. I don't need to listen to another podcast. I need to take all of the gazillions of notebooks and all of the electronic notes that I have, and I need to lock in. I need to go in, as Nicole Cooper, a guest on the MMM a couple of months back said, I need to go into, remember what mode she said? What was the mode that she says she goes into? It was monk mode, right? I need to go into monk mode. I need to put the blinders on. I need to pretend I'm a racehorse so I can only look straight ahead. If I know that I'm someone that has shiny object syndrome, if I know that I'm someone that gets distracted, I need to do something that's going to help me to stay focused. That's the season that I'm in, right? So there's going to be those seasons where you're totally locked in. There's got to be the seasons when you're doing all of the stuff, right? And what I mean by that, you're doing all of the stuff that you know you should be doing. So you're the things that set your day up correctly. What are some of those things that we say set our day up correctly? Meditating, journaling, exercising maybe, right? Writing out your goals, visualizing, right? So there's going to be seasons when you're doing all of this stuff at the very beginning of your day. You're meditating, you're journaling, you're visualizing, you're writing out your goals, you're exercising. Before you know it, it's 11, 12 o'clock and you're like worn out for the day already because you've done all of this stuff. But that's the season that you need to be in. Now, I don't do that stuff all the time. There's seasons when I'm totally locked into meditating on a regular basis, going into the gym on a regular basis, right? Journaling on a regular basis. But I write out my goals on a daily basis. But there's some seasons when I'm just more in tune with it. But then there's other seasons when I wake up, I do the necessary, take a shower, brush my teeth, right? Make some tea, get some breakfast, kiss my wife, text the children if they're not in the house, say hello to the kids. And then I'm right to work. Because the other stuff, I might have an idea and I might be inspired and I'm right to work. Knowing that if I do the other stuff, if I go in and I meditate for 15 minutes or a half hour, if I go to the gym, if I then go in and I start writing out my goals and I get elaborate with them, and if I start now visualizing and adding new things to my vision board, I might have lost that idea. I might have lost the inspiration, right? I might have lost the motivation to get up and get right to it. So recognizing the seasons when you should be laying out your day. And then also recognizing the seasons when it's time for you to just get right to it. I know that there's going to be weeks, there's weeks oftentimes in my life where that happens. I'm jumping out of bed and I'm going. I'm just doing it. I'm going. Because I don't want to lose that feeling that I have in that particular season. Then there's other days, there's other seasons where I'm just easing into the day. I'm easing into the day. I might even have a different type of tea that day. I might have more of a mellow tea. I might be more observant. I might look at the flowers in the backyard, right? I might recognize something new on my wife that I haven't seen, right, in these 22 years that we've been together. Maybe it's a new mole or something, or maybe a way in which she walks in which I can go in and compliment her on. I might recognize something different in myself that day because I'm slowing down. It's a season where I'm a little bit more slow and I'm observant and I'm taking things in, right? Versus the season when I'm just moving fast. And she might have one of the best looking dress. She might have an awesome nightgown on. She might have lingerie on that's from like that looks amazing. And I'm just moving so fast because I'm inspired, but I don't even notice. And then she's like, what the hell is wrong with him? Is he going to the other side now, right? But that's the season that I'm in, right? So you're going to have these seasons when you study, when you plan, when you become the ultimate student, right? When you're studying, you're planning, you're becoming the ultimate student, you're taking it all in. You might have these seasons when you're doing all of the other stuff. And we've all been here, right? The other stuff. Now we're coming up on the holiday season, right? And this is where the other stuff really tests us. What's the other stuff? The different foods that are out there, right? Because we've got the holiday season that's coming up. So now we might be in the season where we can either say, you know what, I've been really disciplined all year. I deserve to take in some of my favorite foods. Or we could say, look, I've had this season, this entire year where I have not been as disciplined as I want to. I've taken the cakes to bed. I've woken up to donuts and coffee, right? I've had whatever it might have been. And we know, so only you guys know that, right? Only we really know that. So that's a season that we may be in. You'll also have those seasons, as I said earlier, when you need to get straight to work and get it done, while still keep your eye on the prize, still knowing that you should be meditating, you should be journaling, you should be goal setting, and that you haven't given it up. You've just given it up momentarily until you can, get out of the season that you're in. So as each of these seasons, right, comes around, and each one of them is super beneficial, they're also dangerous. Because you can be stuck in a season, as I said earlier, and that's the danger. The danger is in staying in one season for too long. If you're in a season where, give me a location in the US that experiences all 4 seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall. What do you think that is? Winter, Chicago? Okay, Darlene, Kansas. Kansas has some insane winters. I made the mistake of going out to Kansas. And for some reason, my daughter, this is when my daughter was doing beauty pageants, and she had a pageant out in Kansas. And for some reason, I always thought, coming from the north, I always thought that Kansas was in the south. And I always thought that it was nice and warm in Kansas. So she had this beauty pageant, and it was like in February or March or something. And we go out there, and I wasn't really prepared. And Kansas taught me really quickly but I should recognize that they have 4 seasons, and some are more severe than the others. All right. So Maryland, South Dakota, who else? Let's see. Boston, says David. Wisconsin, says Jennifer. So now think about this, right? Brian says DC. All of these different states that you guys gave me and all of these different locations. Imagine if one of them, all of these locations had experienced traditionally 4 seasons. Imagine if one of them stayed in one of these seasons too long. It probably would not be good. right? It wouldn't be good. So the same for you. If you stayed in one season, and it could be the season of procrastinating. You could be in the season of trying to get all of your ducks in a row. That happens to more of us than it does not. We're in procrastination season. We're trying to figure it out. We're overthinking it. We're thinking that we need more to our book, more to our course, more to our membership program, right? More to us. How many of us never felt like we're enough because we're still in this season of thinking that we're simply not enough, of believing all the crap that was poured on us, that told us that we were not enough. You can't stay in that season too long. And you definitely can't stay in that season all your life. Just like I had to really think about, did I want to go to this Funnel Hacking Live event or not? I could have stayed stuck in that season. And then what happens? That event doesn't come back around. It's only once a year. And this is how life is. We stay stuck in these seasons of procrastinating, of overthinking. And then what happens is it burns us up inside. Had I not gone to that event when I know I should have went to that event, it would have burned me up inside, because now I'm thinking, oh my God, there's a whole another year that I have to wait. Like I've got to wait for an entire year. Don't let that happen. Don't let you be the individual that's overthinking things, over procrastinating, right? Overanalyzing things. And now that creates this loop where you continue to do that. And as a result, you're never satisfied with yourself because you know that you have what it takes inside of you to continue to move forward and to do the things that you should do. All right. And oftentimes you get some amazing fulfillment from that. So there you go. I'm asking you to recognize the season that you're in. You could be in the wrong season right now, operating as if you're in another one. Don't do that. Right. So it's extremely important to take a moment every once in a while and kind of assess what you're doing to see if it's appropriate for the season that you're in. All right. How many people here right now feel that, and I'll leave you with this, and I want an honest answer. How many people feel that they're in the right season? How many people feel that you're in the right season? All right. So Wendy, Christine, maybe I don't even call out names because I want you guys to freely throw these things in there. If you feel like you're in the right season, then there's no right or wrong with this. What I want to do here is I want you to recognize, right, what you're feeling, because oftentimes we don't even think about this. Like we don't stop to consciously think about this. Am I in the right season? Meaning, am I moving forward? How many of you think that you're not in the right season? Thank you, Victor, for throwing that in there. Right? How many people right now you're just like, and this is normal for every single person that's watching this thing or that will watch it. It is normal for you to feel lost, for you to feel like you don't know where you are at right now, where you should be, what you should be working on, right? And then how many people are right in the middle? You're kind of transitioning from one to the other, right? So I'm asking you as part of your homework is to just take some time today and kind of think about what season am I in, right? And then what season do I want to be in? If you're currently in the season of learning, is that the season that you want to be in? And if you do want to be in that season, then that's fine. Just know that soon you have to shift gears and you have to go from learning to implementing to actually doing, right? And then put that on a calendar. Just like on our calendars, we have all 4 seasons and it's diehard, it's set in stone, doesn't change. We should be putting our seasons on the calendar and trying to stick to them, right? A lot of this stuff, it's harder for humans for us to stick to a season that's on the calendar because it's more of a feeling. But sometimes we can push ourselves past that feeling, just like I pushed myself past the feeling of not wanting to go to the event and then ultimately getting to the event and saying to myself, oh my God, why, what the hell was I thinking? Like, I was really saying I didn't want to come to this thing, right? So there you go. All right, guys. With that said, we've got an amazing guest on Wednesday. We'll see you on Wednesday. As I said, this is going to be a super short call. Do me a favor, go into the Facebook group and then do 2 things. Let me know if this was beneficial for you. And then secondly, wish Caroline that she feels better, right? Give her some well wishes and let her know that we were thinking about her. And then we'll see her on Wednesday, right? So let me know, what was your biggest takeaway from today's call? If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching it on Facebook, if you're here live, go into the Facebook group and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye, Chris. We'll see you, Brian. Bye, Brenda. Bye, Bob Johnson. Bob Johnson, good to see you here, Denver. Betty Powell, good to see you. Aaron Collins, good to see you. Darlene up in Chicago, good to see you. Deb up in Charlotte. All right, good to see you. My son just left to go back to school. Maybe about an hour ago, he just left out to head back up to Charlotte. Who else we have? Jelena, Janine, Isabel, Joanne. Who else do we have? Jennifer Mathis, Kari Schultz, Kay Jackson. All right, Jenny. All right, Mandy. Everyone, have a good day. We'll see you. Post in the Facebook group. Let us know what